And first fight of the night, man, we got a banger kicking off the card right away. Shan Gussy is taking on Anthony Driech. Hopefully, I'm not killing these names. It's hard to pronounce both these last names, but both these guys are good fighters, man. Australian on Australian violence. You got Shan, who's the Hex flyweight champion and looked really impressive recently. He's been mixed in more takedowns and rounding on his game, but he hasn't been that active. He hasn't lost since 2017, but since 2017, he's only had 6 fights. And he did have a win over Steve Erceg in that 6-fight win streak, but it was also way back in the day in 2018. And he's beaten a couple other decent fighters, so he has a good resume. His opponent is also a champion, but for Eternal MMA. So we got a Hex MMA champion taking on an Eternal MMA champion, two of the best promotions over there in that region. And I think historically Eternal MMA has produced the better talent and is the tougher promotion, but Drilich is the underdog coming into this fight. And he's 8-1 overall. He's on a 6-fight winning streak. And he's beaten good fighters, but this is definitely a step up, as it should be. And you look at Shan, he's an impressive guy. He has good movement. He has solid boxing. He can fight going forwards or backwards. He picks his shots well. He hits hard. Fast hands. He's accurate. He'll rip the body. And recently he's shown a lot more power. And he's good at using the jab or feints to pull counter fighters with his speed. And his fight with Steve Erceg was years ago, but in that fight he showed good evasiveness. He showed good ability to move. Even though he did get tired and kind of worked in the third round, he had a good fight in that one and got the win, obviously. And on top of the striking, he can wrestle. He has good timing on his level changes. He'll put fighters on the cage. He'll get body locks. He can finish doubles fairly well. And on top, he's good at grinding guys down. Unfortunately, with Hex, it's hard to watch a lot of their fights in totality. So his recent fights, most of what I've seen were highlights. So it's hard to 100% get a great read, but you could see a lot. And his full match with Steve Erceg, I watched a couple of his other full fights. And he's pretty good, obviously. He's well-rounded, and it looks like his wrestling has improved quite a bit. In the fight with Erceg, he did get put in some bad positions on the ground. But I don't think Drilich is the guy that's going to do that to him. Drilich is a boxer primarily. He's explosive. He's a little inactive in terms of offense, fairly one-dimensional, but good counters, good timing, and he throws heavy. He has light feet, and he has good patience, good distance control, big power for the weight, and really nice left hook. He uses good feints to open it up. Good right hand as well, nice uppercut. He also goes to the body. I feel like the jab is going to be an issue for him, and he's going to have to figure out how to get past that to work inside and let his hands go. And he has good takedown defense, and he will reverse takedowns and kind of grind on you, and he's good at controlling you. But I haven't seen him look for offensive wrestling too much. And I think this fight, tactically, Gauchi needs to fight smart to win, and if he does that, he should win. I think his jab is going to be there, and he could set up combos off of that. I also think he can get the takedowns. I think that needs to be a big part of Shan's game plan. He should be the better wrestler, and mixing it up, getting on top, will be able to differentiate himself a little bit in these rounds. For Drilich, he's going to be dangerous, especially if he can figure out the range on that jab and start to get past it. He's the more powerful puncher. He has really nice setups for his left hook and the right hand, and he has power. So wrestling him, trying to take away that threat, I think is the smartest thing to do. And I think if Drilich wins, it's going to be a knockout or him getting multiple knockdowns over 15 minutes. But I think it's more likely that Shan Gauchi uses his skills to win via decision. So that's going to be my prediction in this fight. And I like the over 1.5 at minus 200. I think that it's not the greatest price, but I think it's going to hit. And when you're getting guys at 125 and an over 1.5 and not a ridiculous number, I don't think that's the worst bet in the world. And I just feel like Shan wins, it's going to be a decision. So him by decision isn't the worst price if you want to get a little bit better number than where he's at. But I think this money line wise maybe is a little wide because I do think Drillich, if it's a pure stand up fight, could make it really competitive. But I would maybe line it at like Shan minus 160 instead of minus 180. So it's a fairly accurate line to me. But I'm gonna pick Gussy via decision. And this next fight, I think we got a mismatch in this one, which a few of these matches are mismatches on this card, even though I think this card has really good prospects. Like that last fight, I don't think it's a mismatch. I think that was the closest fight on the card, had two good prospects. And this one, I think Islam Dulov, the Ripper, is really good. He looks very solid. Can't say much about his opponent, but big time prospect in Islam Dulov. And Dulov, he's won 10 fights in a row. He has been a marauder. I mean, he's finished all his wins. He's finished 9 in the first round. He hasn't been facing the greatest competition, but he hasn't been facing horrible fighters either, and he's been running through them. So he's looked very impressive. And he's supposed to fight August 13th. I think he had a visa issue, and the fight didn't go down. So it's good that he got that corrected. Now he's in the States, and hopefully he can have that 100% ready when he gets signed so he can fight. But he leaps off the page right away. I mean, just when you see his frame, he's 6'6". I think he's a little shorter than that, but definitely a really tall guy, especially for 170. And he's mobile, he's athletic, and he's not like a lumbering guy. He's someone that moves well even with the height. He has been a heat-seeking missile in his fights. He starts out very hot. He goes for the finish immediately. Wayne's right into danger, but up until now, he's been able to get the better of it. He has good leg kicks, but mostly it's boxing, and then he has good knees as well. He uses his feints, his jab to back fighters up, getting exchanges where he has crisp hands, uses that length to kind of land where he's in range and his opponents aren't, and just take off and unload on them. He'll throw body head combinations, real crisp punches, and he could dirty box on the inside fairly well too. And that's where he'll go to the body. He'll throw uppercuts. He has those knees, and he does float his chin a little bit at times. I think he also stands a little heavy on that lead leg, but his last fight, it was a little bit harder than normal for a Dulov fight. He took a few shots, but we haven't seen too much of him facing adversity yet, so we'll see how he does with that. And he hasn't shown much grappling, but he did swarm Will Chope and then snatched a guillotine. He got a darce, so long arms. It seems like he has decent front headlocks, and he has a few RNCs and an arm triangle, but a lot of those are really fast, so I kind of think he dropped those guys and then submitted them. His last fight, he defended a few takedowns, and I feel like he's more of a striker, but he probably is a better wrestler in this fight as well. Cardio for Dulov is kind of a question mark. He looks composed, but pushes a crazy pace, and I'm kind of hard-pressed to see him being able to do that for 3 rounds. His one fight that went to decision, he lost, but that was also his pro debut, to be fair, and he's only been around 2 one time since then, though, so that's still to be determined for him. But his opponent, Vinilto Antunes, he's 16-6. He's fighting out of Brazil, and he's been getting some regional titles lately. His last 2 fights he won with the LFA, and then he had a Favela Combat Championships title. And he's a knockout artist with 14 of his 16 wins coming via knockout, 12 knockout wins in a row. Kind of killer killed. He's been finishing all 6 of his losses. Hasn't been in a decision since 2016. And kind of the perfect style for this show, where he's going to go out there and he's going to put it all on the line, but he's a technical brawler. He'll pressure, he'll back guys up, force exchanges, try to land the big rear cross or overhand counter hooks and uppercuts, and he'll back guys up and try to throw 3-2s, 2-3s. He obviously can crack, so getting exchanges with him is dangerous, but I've seen him get knocked out a couple times. Outside of that, most of the fighters he's lost to are grapplers, though. His wrestling defense looked okay in his last fight, but overall throughout his career, he hasn't shown great wrestling defense, and he got dominated his last loss against Walker Lemos. Ended up getting submitted in that one, and he's been submitted 4 times. Dulov is the better fighter. He's the bigger guy. I like his boxing. I think he can probably pressure and get the finish here. Antunes has that touch of death in his own right, but I just think that Dulov is a tough opponent to deal with, and if Antunes embraces a brawl, which all indications is he will, I think Dulov will get the better end of that and get the knockout. So I'm going to go with the first round knockout win for Islam Dulov in that one. And the next fight that we have on the card, Mario Pinto versus Lucas Camacho. Probably the fight that I'm least interested in on this card here. We got 2 guys that are heavyweights that are pretty tall. I feel like Mario Pinto looks pretty solid, like in terms of technicality. He has great jab. He has nice footwork. He is definitely the much better athlete and mover in this fight. He also throws nice straight punches, good speed when he lets it go. He has a decent right hand, decent leg kicks. And basically, though, he's very kind of like defensive oriented. He will never really open up and go for the kill. Like, some of his fights are super dull and boring because he's just jabbing and leg kicking a totally dead or gassed opponent and never really hunting that finish that often. It seems like his takedown defense is maybe not the best, but he gets up very quickly. No one that he's fought that I've seen has been able to really control him on the mat yet. And I will say, he does kind of get backed up and let his opponents kind of control the pace of the fight because he's just looking to jab, leg kick, and do minimal to win a decision or catch you if you get really overzealous. And Camacho is a decent pressure fighter. He kind of has a really awkward boxing striking style, but he's also long and rangy, and he trains out of Novo União, which is a good camp. I've seen him drop guys with some kind of sneaky straight punches, and I think he's fairly dangerous, but he comes forward very recklessly. I've seen him get rocked by a lot lesser competition. He's tough, though. I mean, seems like he has decent cardio as well. So the line to me is off. I think that if you want to bet it, I think Camacho has the value. But I just think he's a little too reckless. I don't think either guy's going to wrestle here. Camacho has some submissions, but I don't see him getting takedowns. I don't see him really even looking for them. And, you know, even though Pinto isn't a big finisher, I just think he's going to find that chin at some point on Camacho and get him out of there. So I'll say second round finish for Mario Pinto via KO TKO in that one. But moving on to better fights here. This next one, Cody Steele versus Chason Blair. Really excited for this one. 2 guys that are pretty high-level prospects. They've been known on the regional scene for quite some time now, and I think it's a good time for them to get this step up in competition. You got Cody Steele, Fury FC guy. He's 6-0, and he's known as one of the better grapplers recently, or at least one of the more active grapplers in the North American grappling scene. He actually won the Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds. He grappled at a lot of other events, so got his name out there even before he started fighting pro, and then he hit the ground running with Fury. His first fight was against a 15-fight veteran, and he's fought good competition overall throughout his whole career. He was anticipating a fight with Otani in September, and it was a weird situation because he made weight. I think they were getting ready to fight, and Otani kind of refused to get out of the locker room. He didn't want to fight, so can't force a man to fight, and Steele couldn't get out there that night, so found him a quick turnaround with Chason Blair, who just fought as well. Chason Blair just got a very quick win on September 20th, so coming back just, 3 weeks since that fight. And he's a former Division I college wrestler who wrestled at University of North Carolina And it was recent too. He was there in 2020-21 wrestling, so his cardio and athletic base is still very much there. And since 2022, he's been fighting MMA, and it's kind of funny. He went to the UK. He started training with Next Gen Liverpool. You see him with Paddy Pimblett, and he fought for Cage Warriors in all his fights. 6-2 there, and Cage Warriors is expanding now. They came to San Diego, and they created a gym called the MMA Fight Academy, which is, I believe, a little bit similar to a UFC PI. So Blair has transitioned his fight camps there and been training there. He's been fighting for Cage Warriors in California, and his last fight was September 20th. Like I said, he got the quick finish. Short notice call up here, and we'll see if he's ready. I mean, he made weight. He looked good on the scale. So both these guys just had a recent weight cut that could affect the fight. We'll see if it does or not. But style-wise, both these guys are really effective. I mean, Cody Steele, he's just a complete beast, and he's still getting better in every fight. His last fight, I thought his striking looked a lot better. And he has a really nice collection of knockouts, man. A big knockout over Nicholas Whitehead. He got a crazy KO over Nico Echeverry. And, he's someone that can be a little bit hittable, but he cuts the cage off well. He has big power in his hooks. He'll flurry on you against the fence, and seems like he's getting a little bit better with his nuance in terms of boxing. He has good kicks to all parts of the body, and he has that one-punch knockout power as well. On top of being durable, even though his defense needs a little improvement, he is a durable guy. And then he has the elite grappling as well. And he's a top game player, though, so it will be interesting to see if Blair wants to put him on his back and test that. I do think, being at Checkmat, now at Syndicate, probably a lot of leg locks for Cody Steele are there. And we've seen Blair submitted with the leg locks, so it could also be Blair not wanting to test those waters either. But Steele, I do think he's going to struggle to hit takedowns here. He kind of shoots blind doubles, and he will put you against the cage and take you down. And there, maybe you'd have the best chance, especially if he's roughed Blair up a little bit and worn him down. Because I do think he has a great cardio base and a lot better cardio than Blair. But, I think he's going to try to keep this one standing is what I'm trying to say, and win a boxing fight. And you look at Chason Blair, he's a good mover. He's light on his feet. He's a lot more mobile than Cody Steele. And he tries to use like a hands-down blitzing style. He'll switch stance, gets fighters to throw at him, and then he'll slip and come back with combinations, closes the distance really quick. And he's gotten nice with the straight punches. He has fast head kicks too. And his style is a little reckless, but his striking is very dangerous early when he's fresh. And he has a good cardio, but that style, exploding a lot, and then on top of that, he'll mix in takedowns and really goes for a lot of submissions. He doesn't have, good pacing for 3 rounds, so he does get tired. But when he's fresh, he is dangerous, and he's going to have, I believe, a chance to get the first-round knockout in this fight. But Blair does have really fast wrestling. He has good level changes. He's aggressive on top. And being with Next Gen Liverpool, obviously, he's not afraid to give up position for submissions. That gym has good submission prowess, and he'll jump on arm bars. I've seen him give up dominant position for triangles. And 5 of his 6 wins are first-round finishes. Blair's last fight he had ended in the first round, and his last 5 fights have actually ended in round 1. He hasn't been past the first since 2022. He did get knee barred against Hassan Zada, a guy that has been on the Contender Series a couple times. But overall, he's looked really slick with the grappling as well. So I'm going to be intrigued to see these exchanges between these two guys on the ground. But I think that Blair's going to have to prove his conditioning here in the later rounds, because I don't see Steele gassing. Blair doesn't have a lot of experience fighting late. Steele has more, and I think Blair will potentially get a little bit tired. But I expect Chason Blair to come out with a lot of pep, be faster, be sharper. I think he's going to use his movement and speed. He's going to close that distance, land some hooks, land some straight punches. But I don't know if he's going to go for takedowns. I think he's going to try to get the knockout. And Cody Steele's durable. I think he's never been dropped or rocked from what I've seen. He's going to pressure. I think he's going to use that improved boxing to get in a range where he can land those heater hooks, the knees. And I think he's going to be better in brawling range. He's going to be more composed. And I expect Steele to use low kicks and try to walk Blair down, but not open up too much early. And maybe try to let Blair let that nervous energy out, some cardio out. And if he can avoid getting rocked in the first 7.5 minutes and getting finished, I think he could finish later on or at least take over and dominate. So I'm going to predict a third-round knockout win for Cody Steele in this matchup here. And finally, we got the main event. Another mismatch in my eyes where we have, yet again, another Alex Pereira victim and defeater in the world of kickboxing. Artem taking on Islam Makhachev. And, there's been quite a few guys that have beaten Alex Pereira or fought Alex Pereira and came to the Contender Series. And I think all of them have made it to the UFC. So, obviously, Artem is looking to be the next one. Two inexperienced guys. I mean, Artem, he's 33 years old. He started off, I guess not inexperienced, that's the wrong word to say, because Vakhitov has a lot of experience, obviously, in the world of kickboxing and striking in general, but in terms of MMA experience. But, Artem, he started out at 11 years old with Muay Thai, was a 3-time Muay Thai world champion, and then I believe that he had an 88-4 record, went to pro kickboxing, won the Glory light heavyweight title twice, and, he was able to defeat a lot of guys, really good fighters, and obviously one of the best kickboxers in the world, but he's only had 2 minutes and 51 seconds of cage time in MMA, really beat a nobody, so this is a step up, but obviously, Vakhitov has a humongous edge in terms of coming in here with over 100 sanctioned fights overall, whereas his opponent only has a handful. And, Islam kind of has an unenviable task here. He's clearly the B-side. He's taken on a legendary kickboxing champion, and he only has 3 fights. He's knocked out 2 of his opponents in under 20 seconds and 2 others in under 2 minutes and 30 seconds in terms of his amateur fights. So, his longest fight that he's had has gone 1 minute 58 seconds in a round 2, and he hasn't really had a lot of cage time either. So, I just don't see a lot of path to victory for Makhachev. If you look at Makhachev, he is really fast. He's light on his feet. He'll close the distance quick with leg kicks, with hooks. His last fight was pretty insane. I mean, his opponent looked like he bet on Makhachev. He just walked out, hands totally down, got head kick knocked out, and that was it. Obviously in this fight, that's not going to happen. And I thought this fight was going to be at heavyweight, but they both weighed in at 205 today. So I honestly think that was an advantage originally for Makhachev. If they were to fight at heavyweight, I think he would have been the bigger guy. And I've never seen him really wrestle, but maybe he could have used his weight and wrestled the guy down. But now that they're at 205, I just don't know. I don't see a lot of paths for him to win here. But you look at Artem, kind of a Muay Thai style, tight high guard. He'll walk guys down, heavy leg kicks, picks his punches really well. The timing on his leg kicks are exceptional. And he stays tight in the pocket. He'll block punches, come back with his own body head. He mixes kicks into his combinations. Really nice head kick. And he's walked down some of the best strikers in the world. I mean, he wants to be in the pocket and walk you down. He has some amazing knockouts as well, like spinning elbows, some brutal head kicks, some knees. Just an incredible stand-up fighter. And he's honestly shown some grappling. I mean, in one of his pro fights, he defended a couple of takedowns, got on top, ended the fight. I believe in his loss where he dislocated his elbow, he was landing punches from mount, and just unfortunate that he ended up losing there. But he's also been training at Fight Ready with Eric Albarracin and Henry Cejudo, so those are good guys to get you ready for MMA wrestling. And at heavyweight, baseline athleticism should be good versus most. So I just feel like they're setting up Artem to get this first round knockout and look good doing it. Makhachev looks like a fast guy, but he's been fighting some heavyweights, and I don't think he's going to have that speed or confidence to go in there and just try to blitz Fahidov, and if he does, I think he'll get KO'd. But either way, first round knockout for Artem for me is that prediction in this fight. So there you have it, guys. Thanks for watching this full card prediction for Contender Series. If you haven't hit the like button yet, hit the like button, please. That really helps the channel. Put a comment down below. Do you agree with my picks? Do you disagree? What are you going with? What are you confident in? Tell me what you're betting in. I want to know, anyone have any good props that they're confident on? I think Steel 2-3 potentially is, a good prop there. The over on the first fight. So, yeah, guys. If I had to give you guys a parlay of the week, though, I guess I would go with the under in the Dulov fight and Cody Steele. So that would be the parlay that I give you guys. Thanks for watching. If you want to go get access to my bets, go to patreon.com/everypredictionguru. Got all my bets there and more content. So always support the channel by going there. And I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.